I think we can all agree that there tends to be little to no entertainment for Christians. That's why whenever we, mainly me, see something that's of good quality and Christian, whether it's a song or a show, we tend to latch onto it like it's all we have. Because honestly, it is. It seems like just recently there happens to be a wide variety of good Christian content. But there's one aspect where it seems to be lacking, and that's comics. I mentioned in my last video how there were about 12 webcomics that I've found, and as of right now, most of them, well, have been left unfinished or simply cancelled before they got started. I really considered giving up the search. That is, until I found this new webcomic that seems to be in the works. I was so thrilled, and now I'm fangirling about it because I have nothing better to do. The comic made by Anna Miriam Brown, go follow her on Insta, is called Young Apostles. And if you use your context clues, you'll see that this comic is about the apostles when they were young. Bruh. I don't know. Hopefully that made sense. I'm not really good with words. It's a comic that navigates the life of Jesus through the disciples' perspective. And I don't know much about this series, but what I do know is we need this. And here's why.
The art style.
Art style is important. Let's be so for real. Just because it's Christian doesn't mean I will stay invested artistically. And some Christian content lacks that. I've seen so many comments that just say, oh, it's Christian, it doesn't matter the quality. God will love it regardless. Which is, if we do something for God, shouldn't it be done with care? We shouldn't do it half-heartedly, like a kid's show. Just because it's aimed at children doesn't mean it shouldn't be of good quality, because we tend to go back and see just how well the show held up over time. Shouldn't the same be done with Christian content? With all these dynamic characters, I think one of the most fascinating things about this series is what I like to call the Judas concept. I don't think it's known by most out there, but out of the 12 disciples, many of them have the same name. The Simons, the Jameses, and the Judases. Very original, you know? So there are in fact two Judases. One that goes by the name of Judas Iscariot, and the other that goes by Thaddeus. But the thing with this comic is that the creator of the series has decided to leave the real identity of Judas a secret until his betrayal. Which is the most creative writing choice I have ever laid my eyes on, because can we talk about it? Leaving it up to the audience to debate who we think the betrayer is, causing a lack of trust with the Judas we believe is guilty when they're probably innocent. It will by far be one of the biggest mysteries this comic has to offer. The humor, from what I've seen on her Instagram, the author really does have premium humor, you know? We tend to think just because something is Christian, it can't be comedic, intriguing, or the slightest bit interesting, when quite literally half the books of the Bible have the most dynamic characters. Moses was not a good speaker, yet he helped lead a nation out of slavery. Jonah was a pretty stubborn guy and threw a tantrum at his really big age. Samson, he was pretty down bad. And Jesus really has beef with that fig tree.
If I don't have some cake soon, I might die.
Why don't you just have an apple?
Why don't you mind your business?
The Bible is so interesting, and for us to expect Christian content to be so bland and uneventful can really let your hopes down. Conclusion. Christian content is on the low, and it's really lacking. That's why it makes me hopeful to see good Christian content for people to enjoy, especially when seeing this new comic develop. It's a really interesting way of displaying the gospel, and it can interest people into knowing more about the Bible. I always wondered to myself if we would ever have good Christian content around us, and I'm not just saying VeggieTales or Superbook because those are good shows. But as good as they are, we need more variety. No matter if it's from a song, a show, or simply a comic. And when seeing this webtoon, I have no doubt we'll be in good hands.